One of the most meaningful and moving pictures in the spiritual realm in sacred art is the icon of Andrei Rublev called Trinity. Now, why is this picture, this image, this icon so important, so meaningful? It has 3 angels on it. And the angels form an open circle. They face each other, they point toward each other, and you can see almost like a movement in the icon, like they're moving. And then one thing that few people who have seen this icon, the Trinity, know about is that at the bottom of this image, of this icon, there used to be a mirror mounted. And the mirror right at that center, right where the 4th person would be in this dance, is like you see yourself in the mirror and find yourself drawn into the dance, into the circular dance of the Trinity of the living God. Wow, what a different image than what we often think of how God is. Here it's an invitation to lose yourself in wonder, in excitement, in just dancing. Now, my brother Conrad, he's the middle one of us. He was the party guy when we grew up. He had friends over, and in the evening they had the boombox, turned it up. And as the youngest one, I was quite shy. My most comfortable spot was sitting in a corner and observing and watching. And there was this part in me where I felt like, should I dance too? Should I move into? But then I kind of, my heart shrunk a little bit and I stepped away. I felt awkward, I felt like not quite comfortable, I felt inhibited and kind of pretty stiff in that situation. John, that first letter, I love the passage which Margaret so beautifully shared with us. That one verse that says, even when our hearts condemn us, God is greater than our hearts. Have you ever been hard on yourself? Have you ever felt stuck or inhibited or not quite good enough or wanting to join but not quite ready? Have you ever been in that situation? This one verse says, you know what? God is greater than the demons you wrestle with, those voices, whatever holds you back. Lean in, move in that dance of the Trinity that we're all invited to. And in the same image of Jesus being the shepherd and we're the sheep, in the first letter to Peter, it says, we're sometimes just like the sheep who wander off. We just take off. We go our own ways. We stray. We just leave the right path. We just wander off. But then the shepherd of our souls gathers us back in. He follows us. He comes and he draws us in into the fold. It's this deep knowing where the good shepherd knows us inside and out. And when we listen to his voice, it's very, very interesting. I've seen these huge flocks of sheep way in the mountains where we used to hike, hundreds of them. And then in the spring, like now, they would have all these cuddly, comfy, beautiful little lambs. Now, when the sheepdogs got them gathered and they got all mixed up and ran around, sometimes the lambs got separated from their moms, from the ewes. And when you have that many sheep and that many lambs, it can get quite confusing. But you know what? The lambs can distinguish and hear in all that blah, blah, bah, bah, whatever noise around there, they can hear the voice of their mom. And that's here what this passage picks up. Jesus hears us, he knows us, and we know Jesus by listening deeply with our hearts, with our voices, with our attention, just paying attention to it. So what is the dance into which we are invited? What is the dance that this icon represents? What are we to do? Well, the first letter to John we have just heard from says, to love through actions. You know that. Actions speak louder than words, so you can talk a lot the whole day long. If you don't do anything, you really miss it, what it is about. The essence of the dance, how both the Gospel of John and the letter of John describe Jesus is his self-giving love. And we are invited, just like apprentices, just like modeling our lives after Jesus' life, imitating Jesus. Now, how do we imitate Jesus through our actions? How do we do that? As a congregation, as people here at St. Paul's, we have very beautifully a group of people who regularly write notes to people who are facing hardships. So Dolly Klingler and her family, they received notes because people here care. They show the love of Jesus through actions by writing a note, buying a card, putting a stamp on, getting it to the mail, and pouring their heart and souls into the cards, praying for Dolly and for her family. Self-giving love. People who help feed through loaves and fishes, you know how beautiful, how important this ministry is to feed the hungry. Caring for God's creation, for Mother Earth, that is at the heart of who Jesus calls us to be. We have participated, several of us, in an interfaith service. And the melody from the different voices from our closest religious friends like Jewish, Muslim, and Christian, but also from the Buddhist, from the Hindu, and the voices around the globe. The clearest voice I could hear was that the earth is sacred. It's sacred. It's holy. How do we care for it? How do we care for it? For some people, living like Jesus in a self-giving way is just to be a giving person. Giving like Jesus sacrificially, giving from substance, giving proportionately, giving significantly. And I remember when we were new in Virginia, we didn't have any family, no one really close by. One of the greatest gifts we got as young parents was one of the friends, one of the neighbors, one of the members of the congregation who said, you know what? Get a night out, get a break. And she took care of her 2 kids, just getting a break. One of the greatest gifts, love in action. This marvelous, beautiful icon of Rublev, it shows the Trinity. It's open, it's a moving image with that mirror where we can see oneself, ourselves, and join into this action, join into the dance. Where and how do you love through actions? Where and how do you love through actions? And how do your actions show that you love like Jesus? Sacrificially like Jesus.